All right, y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Sacred Pathway Academy podcast with me, Allison Rozelle. I am your host. I am also the founder, CEO, head mistress of the Sacred Pathway Academy. The Academy currently has offerings for Reiki Master certification. So if you have your levels 1 and 2, you might want to get in where you fit in because we start on October 26th. All right. So enough of my plug. I'm not here to talk about me. I am here with a beautiful goddess that I'm not really even sure how we got connected, but I am really glad we did because, as many of you know that have been following me, Reiki and Oracle cards are my love language. And for this beautiful goddess that is joining me today, they are hers too. So I'm like, gotta talk to her, gotta bring her on the podcast. We gotta have this juicy conversation. So welcome to the podcast,
Yes.
Miss Beautiful Felicia Jones. Hi, Felicia.
Thank you. Hello, good evening. Happy Friday. All that good stuff. I am so happy to join you for your podcast this evening.
Yay. I'm so excited about you being here. I was like, okay, when's the 8? Is it 8? Is it 8? Is it time? Is it time? Yeah.
And here we are.
Yes, here we are, goddess. Yes. So let me tell y'all a little bit about this here goddess that we're talking to today. Miss Felicia Jones is a Reiki Master Teacher, certified crystal and gemstone healer, and certified coach from Long Island, New York. Her business is spiritual based, called Spiritual Goddess Influencer LLC, and offers Reiki healing, crystal and gemstone healing, tarot, oracle, intuitive readings, and intuitive coaching. She also hosts slash plans empowerment
Mhm.
events and starting to branch out into hosting retreats. Ooh, for the soul. Her
Yes.
entrepreneurial journey started back in 2015. However, taking real flight in 2017, more in depth in spiritual practices. It's been a very powerful journey along the way for her through experience, shifts, breakthroughs, discoveries, ascensions, transformations, mentorships, and trainings that elevated her to step more into her power. And I love her motto. Her motto says, no one will do you like you do. Take care
There
of
you go.
you. No
Yes.
one will do you like you
Like
do.
you do.
Take care of
Nobody.
you.
Yes.
Nobody, nobody.
Yes, I've had to learn that the hard way. We have so many expectations from the outside world
Yes.
and validation from outside of ourselves that eventually I came to the point that nobody gonna do me like I do me. So I gotta make sure I do me right. And
Yes.
this way, anybody who comes into my life is going to do me the way that I do me, and that's the right way. So that has been my motto since I started Spiritual Goddess Influencer. I instill it in everybody who I come in contact with, and when they think about it, they're like, you know what, you're right. Ain't nobody gonna do me like me,
No.
So that's where that came from.
I love it. I love that because when I read that, I was like, I love it because it's so true. And it further
Yes, it
feeds
is.
the fact that we teach people how to treat us. So if we're not
Right,
treating ourselves well, how are we going to expect other
right.
people to do it?
You can't put that ownership on nobody else.
That's right. That's right. So I told you all she is a Reiki master. So of course, first part of this whole conversation, we got to talk about Reiki. So I need to know,
Talking.
Miss Felicia, how did you get
Yes.
started with your journey in not just Reiki, but just the whole thing? Tell us more about your journey.
Okay. Well, from as far as I can remember, I have always been different. Okay. From a child, asking different questions, challenging different theories, and just been so inquisitive about what beyond what I can see, touch, and feel. So as a child, I grew up that way. Um, as I got into my 20s, I started to branch out a little bit more, research a little bit more, discover a little bit more. I would find I had interest in crystals. I find that I have interest in knowledge that was forbidden, if you will, in religion. And I wanted to know more. The mysteries of life, I wanted to know more. I was always an empath and couldn't understand that when I go into places, why do I feel a certain kind of way? Or if I see somebody having an emotion, I can actually feel that same emotion. Or just knowing things and may have said something and somebody will look at me like I'm crazy and say, well, how do you know that? So I started that self-discovery, still not trusting it, but I still was discovering. I would buy certain things, didn't know why I was buying it, whether it was like an herb or a certain type of incense, just kind of drawn to these things. And I would buy them. I'll put them in a box, put them up, forget about it. Didn't even, for some reason, I was just buying these things. And throughout my journey, my first business was a women's boutique. It was the brick and mortar store. My husband and I decided that I was going to leave corporate. I was your chief financial officer for a manufacturing company. I didn't want to do corporate no more. I wanted to put my entrepreneurial shoes on and I was going to go open a boutique. So I did that. We did that. And it was a tough journey. Okay. We tried to survive that retail market. I mean, we walked in knowing nothing, but learning a lot of lessons. And unfortunately, that journey kind of brought us down to our bare selves. We tried, we put everything we possibly could into that journey, and it just didn't work out. And we ended up having to close the store, unfortunately. And we ended up having to shift our whole entire lifestyles, giving up houses, cars, and moving out of New York. So at that time, I was in complete distress. I didn't know what to do, where I needed to be, what my purpose was at that point. I thought I was doing what I was in alignment to do. And my whole life was just going to shambles. And in tarot cards, I like to call that my tower moment, when everything just falls apart. So my husband's from Alabama. We decided that we were going to reset. I have 4 children. We were going to reset, move to Alabama, and start over. And we did just that. I'm giving you the soft version of that transition because it definitely was a whole lot more of chaos with the process, but still my spirit was broken. When we got the house that we obtained in Alabama, there was a room, and I actually posted this room a couple days ago. It was a memory I shared on my Facebook page. And before we moved into the house, it was this small room, which should have been either like a dinette area or a sitting room, like a reading room. And I said, this room is calling me. This is going to be my room for whatever reason. This is going to be my room. At that time, I didn't know what its purpose was. So my real spiritual journey started in that room. Once I had my tower moment, once everything, and I always kind of tell the story like, the universe was sending signs that I wasn't listening to, even while owning the business in New York. And I wasn't listening to it. I was just still trying to be this entrepreneur. And finally, I remember one night I sat before I furnished a room and I heard something in my head say, okay, now you have no choice but to listen. There was nothing else for me to do. Now, my husband's from there. My whole family's from New York. My husband's from there. And I had nobody that I knew, no friends, his family members. Yes, I knew who they were, but nobody who was close to me. Right. Everything was pulled apart. Everything that I knew that was familiar to me was taken away. And that voice was the first time I heard and listened to the voice was, okay, now we listen. And my spiritual elevation started at that point. Meditation, just solitude. Those four walls was all I had. And I was able to hear what it was that I was supposed to be doing, that I was avoiding for a very long time. Those boxes that I told you, I was just buying stuff and put it in there. Didn't even know why I bought it while I was pulling them and unpacking. And it was like, oh, this is what this is for. Oh, this is what that is for.
Wow.
Oh, okay. And everything had a place. It was all in a box. And when I got in that room, after my life fell apart, it all had a purpose. From that point on, there were people, and it always, the saying goes, when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Yes.
So I would be on Facebook or Instagram, and I would come across these people on YouTube. Let me tell you, I was a junkie. Okay. I was a junkie for YouTube. And I will come across these women in particular who would talk about these things that I've been inquisitive about, and, that I was trying to discover more information, but just didn't have the right resources to go to. And it was like, boom, bam, right in front of me when I was ready to listen.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. There was a lot of women that poured into me when I needed it the most. Help me understand what my oversoul was. Help me understand what my higher self is. Help me understand that I have these spinning wheels in my body that are chakras, and they make a big deal. At that time, is my interpretation. I had the opportunity to understand my spirit body. Reiki for me has been around me before I actually got involved in it. One of my mentors, who was around when I had the business, you always used to tell me, there's something more and something bigger for you. Yeah, girl, you like this shirt? You like, because I had a boutique. Yes. Yeah, okay. You like this shirt? Try this shirt on, girl. You look good in that shirt. She's like, and she keeps saying to me, this is not for you. There's more for you. Yeah, girl. Wow. One day she came in, she gave me my first oracle card. She said, here, this her like, what I'm supposed to do with these. Another thing that was through in the box that oracle cards were supposed to be in my cards. And let me tell you, when I got in that room, so fast forward, she is my Reiki master, and she used to do Reiki for me. And she used to always say, this is a calling for you. She's very intuitive. This is a calling for you. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But in my development, I was already using energy. I was already using the energy. I was already putting that out into my surroundings and in my atmosphere. I just wasn't attuned to the symbols. I wasn't attuned to the practice, but I was already utilizing the energy.
Yeah.
And one day she said to me, because eventually we got our stuff together in Alabama. We was able to come back to New York and come back for everything we lost.
All right.
More, okay. So when we got back to New York, I had a housewarming, and she came to the housewarming, and I'm doing my meditation. I'm doing my spiel. And she said, and I was teaching them an energy exercise. And she said to me, this is the time, right? And I said, for what? She said, let's get you attuned to level 1. And that's how Reiki kind of, fell into it. I was familiar with it. I've had treatments with it, I was using energy, not Reiki energy. I was already using energy. And this is just the missing part to the puzzle.
Yeah.
So I even still subjective to the idea, because it wasn't something I've done it, I know about it, but I'm not really sure. Well, level 1 for me taught me everything that I needed to know more about Reiki to say, okay, I see where this is going.
Right.
And being able to utilize what I learned in level 1 on myself, I saw, oh, this is where I need to be, you know? And level 2 just amplified that. Level 3 amplified it even more. And she said, well, not everybody wants to become a teacher. However, I'm telling you that this is in your calling. It took me a while to sit with that, because that's the level of responsibility that at that time I wasn't sure I was ready for.
Yeah.
So I sat at level 2 for quite some time before I decided I was going to go higher than that and commit to being able to birth other Reiki practitioners and other masters. And in my experience in it all, it's life-changing. It's become a lifestyle for me. I can't say that I wake up and not one part of my day, from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, I haven't incorporated Reiki in my daily life. So it's become a part of me naturally.
Yes.
But that's the long, short version of how Reiki and my spiritual journey has come to pass.
Wow. I mean, that I was just sitting and listening to your story, and your story and a lot of parts of mine are very similar. You know, I was doing a business that I had no business doing.
Right.
And I was determined to make that business work. Meanwhile, that wasn't my path. Now, I'm not saying I didn't get any lessons from it, because I got the experiences and wisdom that I needed. However, I kept trying to force that, and it just was not working. So I love how you know, with every step in your journey, because I'm sitting in awe, because it's like, wow, I had to give up where I lived too. You know, I had to, like, I was basically stripped down. And that is when God, spirit, universe, creator, whatever name you give, that's when they got your attention. When you get stripped down from it and you have no choice but to listen. So,
okay.
When you get broken down like that, it's kind of like you just have no choice but to pay attention now, you know? And I'm just in awe of the fact that your story and mine are so similar in a lot of ways, that is beautiful synchronicity. And I just love it. I love that. So let me ask you this.
That's how the universe works.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So let me ask you, when it comes to you as a Reiki practitioner, for me, I feel that there's not a lot of representation as far as Black Reiki practitioners. We're not really as to the forefront. Many of us, when I do find out that someone is a Reiki practitioner, it's kind of like we're hiding in plain sight. So it's kind of like, for your experience, how did you feel about presenting Reiki to other people of color, and do you find that other people of color, specifically Black people, are receptive to it? What's been your experience with that?
Um, it's been somewhat, I wouldn't say it's a difficult area. It's just like, as you said, it just doesn't have a presence. And I'm just now starting to get, the diversity message out there. And what I've noticed is that apprehension is something that our people of color have when it's not something they're familiar with or have heard of. They're like, it's just something with us that we do. And it takes conversation to explain and break down. And then when I do that, it's like, oh, okay. So if you, and I'm always about alignment. So the people who are supposed to understand will be sent to you to understand.
Right.
So I don't force it. I put it out there. I'm sorry, my phone should not have rang. But phone calls come in. Okay. So I put it out there and I just talk about it. And I talk about it more so, not what it could do for you, but what it's done for me. Yes. I use myself, as a Black woman, okay, a professional, a mother, a wife, all of those things. I'm able to reflect how Reiki helps. Yes. So when you talk about these things in conversation and you're around open-minded people, they're like, well, you know what? I think I need some of what you got. Right. Come on. So when you're able to relate it to real life experiences, the things that we go through to our peers, I found it easier rather than just saying, visit my website and, book a session for Reiki. It's about kind of being social with it. Yeah. And once they can compare it to their own lives and and there's a relation, just like how you and I have similar, history on how we came to where we were. And I'm sure you can tell me a lot of different stories on how Reiki has helped you on your everyday journey. It's just having simple conversations like that, and to give a quick example of it, I can have a long day at work. Okay. I got to come home. I got a wife. Well, I don't really have to come home. I just walk upstairs because I work from home, but I come home upstairs. So I got to come home and I have a husband to tend to. I have children to tend to. I got to cook. I got to straighten up. I got to prepare for the next day. I have to give me time to each individual child because that's what they require. So, but my energy has been all over the place with work all day. So what do? I do a little bit of self Reiki to balance myself, have a moment of solitude with myself. And then I'm able to be more open and receptive once I've cleared whatever I carry during the day. Once I've cleared that, I'm able to offer more of myself to them. Right. Another example would be just their energy off too, because they've been out in school and they've been doing stuff all day and dealing with different types of people. Yeah. Okay. Not even, them realizing it, but they're carrying energy too. So now the whole household has an energy. So what do? I don't necessarily Reiki them, but I Reiki the house. Yes. So any room you walk into, you're walking into a shower of cleansing energy. Okay. Sets a tone. And anybody that walks in my house will say, it's so peaceful in here. Yes. It is so peaceful. Everyone that walks in here, it is just like a sense of peace. That's because the practice of Reiki, I incorporate in everything, and I'm able to manage a more peaceful, happy, it ain't always happy, but for the most part, happy lifestyle. And when I have these conversations I'm having with you, they're like, well, how do I do that? Or how I get some of that peacefulness, or how
Right.
can I calm down my energy? And I give them the experience. So I can keep talking and talking. So you go ahead. That's pretty much, how I'm able to talk about it for our people to be more familiarized with it, is just merely giving them my own life examples.
Yes.
Because we all can relate at least on one level to another,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's finding the relationship, and finding the similarities, and being able to share your story, telling your story, telling how this has impacted your life. And then it's not so foreign anymore. And that's the thing. It's, I definitely am about us attracting the people who should, or I don't want to say should, but who are drawn to us and wanting our services. I guess for me is, I want more of us to have an understanding about what it is, because there's a lot of misinformation and misconceptions about, Reiki, but I mean, a lot of spiritual practices have that too. But one of the common misconceptions is people assume that Reiki is attached to a particular religion or spiritual belief, and it's not. It's not.
Yes.
So, did you want to kind of speak about that as well?
Yes. So I agree. And that misconception, because when you think energy, there's negative energy, positive energy, high vibrational energy, low vibrational energy. Energy itself can be categorized. But when it's Reiki energy, it is the very main source, pure, divine, God. There is no mix in that.
Yeah.
And the energy too is not of our own energy. So while I could be carrying high vibrational, low vibrational, when it comes to highly elevated frequencies, there is none of that. So that takes a little bit more time to kind of understand. And I think once an experience, because you got to experience it, once the experience is had and you're able to discern what's happening within you, then you're able to connect better to the type of energy that it is. But Reiki is pure energy, is divine God energy. Absolutely. It is the very source that created all of us, actually.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So depending too, I think, on what your divine relationship is with higher source, that makes a difference as well. Once you're able to conceptualize what that is for you, then you're able to say, okay, it's no different really than, me feeling the quote unquote Holy Ghost for our more church and Christian people. Yes. No different than me feeling, some kind of way when I have prayers and I'm feeling like my miracles and my blessings and my manifestations are having, coming forth, is that same pure energy, or it's no different from when a child is born and you look at that innocent energy in a newborn baby. It's that same energy. So if it had to be compared to something, that's kind of like how I would compare it. But it's pure. It's the purest form of yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I love that. I love how you put that together, because that's often how I teach Reiki. Is, for me, hold on a second. Sorry about that. For that's me, okay. Excuse me, it's more of, I associate Reiki with you reconnecting with your higher self and your higher power. That's the way I explain it. It's you coming into direct contact with source energy, opening you back up so that you can fully receive that. And then all those beautiful energy centers can become balanced and add more flow into your life, which not just the energy centers, which it goes all through your body, right? Because the energy centers are all governing different parts of your body at all times.
Yeah.
So that's why I
Right.
can do Reiki on one, like on your legs, and you may feel something in your heart. You know what I'm saying? It's because the divine connection that we have within us, and as we're receiving Reiki coming together, it's just a beautiful experience that's like no other. You know, I too am a person, I will go through my house and I will cleanse the area, cleanse my home, cleanse my room, cleanse my space, cleanse myself with Reiki. You know, I teach my students all the time, if you don't do nothing else, self-healings, you don't even have to do like a whole long thing of it either. You can give yourself 5 minutes of some really good Reiki and go on about your business, because it's just that powerful. It's that source energy, that pure. I love that you said pure energy. I just, that's a beautiful way to explain it. I love that.
And you know what? Reiki is intelligent. So it goes where it needs to go. As a person, you may have been suppressing some things. You may not be present with some things. And having that Reiki energy is gonna go, it knows. You know, your oversoul knows what you need when you don't need. What's held in the subconscious knows what you need when you don't consciously know what you need. So that's the beautiful thing. Not only is it pure, but it's very intelligent. So if I'm directing it, or I'm being a channeler and I'm directing it to a particular area on you, or a particular area in this space, it is going to, reproduce itself to be able to heal, clear, cleanse where it needs to without me even thinking about it. So I love that too about it. It's very intelligent.
Yes. Yes, it really is. Oh my goodness, we could sit and talk about this stuff all day, honey. We probably gonna have to
All
do
night
part
long.
2 or something,
Yes.
But what I want to do is I want to kind of shine a light on your offerings. I got to tell you, when I see your postings on Facebook and I see the things that you're offering, it just screams just beautiful, divine, feminine energy. It's so beautiful. And I'm like, wow. So please let people know any current offerings that you have that you want to talk about, how they can get in touch with you, all that.
Yes. So Spiritual Goddess Influencer is on Instagram. You can find it spiritual.influencer.goddess. Spiritual.goddess.influencer. Okay, there we go, for Instagram. And I'm also on Facebook. Right now with Reiki sessions, I do distance Reiki, which is offered through my website, www.sgi333.com. I do Reiki sessions at a distance, and I think you and I could probably talk on another episode about distance Reiki, because it's completely different from, well, not different, but there's a different model on how that works. Don't necessarily have to be in person. I do offer in-person sessions. I'm located in Medford, New York, which is out east in Suffolk County on Long Island. Virtually, what I have going on is the SGI Energy is Everything Chakra series. Now, we are already at the solar plexus chakra, so we're like right in the middle. This is a series that will continue once this is complete. Whether you started at the root at the beginning of the series, or you jump in the middle or decide to jump in at the end, is still a very beneficial thing for you to do. I offer a lot of guidance and also educating, and we do some healing. We cut cords. The Reiki is only one portion of a healing modality. There's other things that my clients learn along that journey. I am a big moon person, so you can catch me on a new moon and a full moon. If there was anything that you are looking to gain clarity on, I do the oracles on a new moon and a full moon, so that you can catch on my my Instagram page. And stay tuned for more whoever, I don't know. Where are you? Are you in Georgia?
I am.
Okay. So you're in Georgia, I'm in New York. So you down there and I'm up here. But in New York, I do events. So my Instagram is always live with what I have going on in person. I'm actually going to be in your area soon, so I definitely will reach out when I'm over there, and if we're close, we definitely need to link up. But yes, Instagram is probably the best way to stay connected with me.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to put all of your information in the description so that everybody can be able to find you and get to you. And yes, we will definitely have another conversation, because yes, we got to go into the distance. We got to start talking about distance Reiki, because I'm doing more of that now than I was previously. So
right.
So therefore, I'm doing more distance as well. And you know what? It's a beautiful thing. I love it. I love all of it, honestly.
Yes.
So we'll definitely have another conversation for sure. But in the meantime, in between time, I want to thank everyone for joining us for this conversation. Felicia, you have just blessed my soul with your presence and your story. I just love it so much.
Thank you.
Now we're connected.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. So thank you all for joining us today on the Sacred Pathway Academy podcast. It's me, Allison Rozelle, and I'm here with Felicia Jones, and we just killed this here interview talking about Reiki.
Yes. And remember, nobody gonna do you like you do. So stay in tune with you.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Thank you all so much, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.